Hi, I'm Michael Josh from Rappler.com, and this is our unboxing of the Cherry Mobile Omega HD 2.0. If you recall, about 3 months back, Cherry Mobile released the original Omega HD. Now, if you take a look at both phones, and we'll show them to you side by side later, you'll see that on the outside they're exactly the same phone, and on the inside they're pretty much the same phone as well. The only difference is that the Omega HD 2.0 comes with a quad-core processor. Let's take a look at the back and let me show you that this phone comes with a 1.2 gigahertz quad-core processor. Everything else is the same, and even if on the box of the original Omega HD you'll see a black phone, both phones are available in black and white, and today we will unbox for you the white version of the Omega HD 2.0. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so let's put this aside. The phone comes in pretty much like all Cherry Mobile phones, in like this wax kind of plastic. We'll take a look at the phone later. Let's see what else is in the box. So the box comes with, of course, a battery, a removable battery. It's a 2,100 milliampere battery. Let's put that aside. This is the power brick. As you can see over here, it's quite larger than most power bricks, but it does look pretty. I've seen a lot of other power bricks from other manufacturers. This one does look pretty, and won't take up too much space on your socket. Of course, everything else isn't pretty. There's nothing really special about the earphones, and of course the USB cable, so let's not spend too much time looking at that. And then last but not the least, you have the user manual for the Omega HD 2.0. So let me set aside this for now. I'll set aside the battery. We can put this in a bit later, but let's now take the phone out from the plastic so that I can show it to you. So this is, folks, the Omega HD 2.0. Now I have in my hand, on my right hand, the Omega HD, the original Omega HD, and as you can see side by side, they are exactly the same phone in terms of weight, size, build, and pretty much in terms of specs, except for that quad-core processor. So how do you find out how they're different? Take a look at the back, and you'll see that, of course, this phone says Omega HD 2.0, this says Omega HD. So that's basically the only thing that's different about the phones if you take a look at how they look on the outside. So let me show you in terms of size. That's just a camera illusion if one looks larger than the other, but they're basically the same width as well. So everything is the same. So let me set aside the original Omega HD and run through some of the specs of the Omega HD 2.0 for you. As you can see, in terms of construction, it has the same plastic back that is reminiscent of the plastic backs of Samsung phones. In front, you have a 5-inch 720p HD display. The sides are almost like it almost has an aluminum finish. I don't think it's aluminum though. It's probably plastic, but it's a nice touch, and they've managed to really get the screen as close to the sides of the phone. So the bezel of the phone is very, very small. That's a good thing in terms of the look of the phone. Now on its back you have a 12 megapixel camera, main camera with backside illumination technology. Here you have the LED flash, and on the bottom part of the backside of the phone are the speaker grills. In front you have a 2 megapixel front-facing camera. Let's try and focus. There you go. 2 megapixel front-facing camera. The buttons of the phone are built into the body. They're not physical buttons. On the sides you have the volume rocker, and then right here you have an assignable button. Most often than not, we assign it to the camera, and by default it's assigned as the camera shutter button, but you can actually program this button and have it do something else. Okay, now I want to show you what's inside the phone. You can basically pop off the back of the Omega HD 2.0. Here on the bottom right side, there's actually a groove here. I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to focus. There you go. There's a groove here which you can use to pull off the back cover of the Omega HD 2.0, and as you can see here, there are actually slots for 2 SIM cards. So SIM card number 1 goes here, SIM card number 2 goes here, and you have here provisions for for expandable memory. This is a micro SD card slot. The phone comes with 4 gigabytes of internal memory, and you can expand it to up to 32 gigabytes of space with an optional micro SD card. Now, a micro SD card looks like this. There you go. Now what I'm going to do is I can just pop that micro SD card in there like so. I only have one SIM card with me, so I'll just put it onto SIM card slot number 1. So just follow the instructions. Put it in and push it in like that. So if you had a second SIM card, you could put the SIM over here. Before I pop it closed, let's might as well pop in the 2100 milliampere battery. There you go. And that's how everything assembles. And then all you need to do is pop back on this plastic cover. Now, it's a great thing. I always love phones that you can pop off the back, which means you can basically replace the battery and, you know, take along a second or third extra battery for days that you really don't want to run out of power. Okay, let's start up the phone. Let's see if there's any juice left in our battery. So all you have to do is press it for about a second or two. You'll feel a little buzz, and then you'll see the Omega HD logo, followed by the Cherry Mobile logo. And last but not least, logo, the Android mascot. There you go. Now, as you can see, in terms of user interface, there you go. It's noticed our SIM card, so it's asking me if I want to use this. Okay, so let's just change. There you go. Okay, if you can remember, I only put in one SIM card, so you'll see I have signal bars for that one SIM card that I put in earlier, but there is another, there you go, the other SIM, signal bars for the other SIM has that red X, and the signal bars grayed out, which means there's no reception. Of course, that's because there isn't a SIM card, second SIM card inserted in the phone. Now let's take a look at the user interface. As you can see, Cherry Mobile hasn't really changed the user interface, and I'm not a big fan, I've said this a couple of times before, I'm not a big fan of the way that Cherry Mobile has skinned this version of the Android operating system. This, for example, does make it a little bit sluggish, and it's not sluggish at all as a phone, but it's just really a factor of how they really customized this version of Android. Now, if you also take a look at the icons, they're actually kind of extra large, almost cartoony. And I've said this before, I'm not really a fan of the way that Cherry Mobile implements its skin, including the size and look of the icons. But as I take you back out, you can see everything else looks pretty much like the standard version of the Android operating system. They call it vanilla, which means it hasn't really been modified. So that basically looks like standard Android. And if you take a look on this panel, let me zoom out a bit. The icons are pretty much the same, and but as you can see, it's faster than it was on the home screen, meaning as a quad-core processor, it's not really sluggish. It's basically just the implementation of this operating system. Speaking of Android, let's take a look at settings and about this phone. The Omega HD 2.0 runs on Android version 4. 2.2.1 Jelly Bean. Okay, so now what I want to do is basically run you by a benchmarking application and maybe just one sample application to see if both phones perform at the same speed, or if the phone on the left, which is the Omega HD 2.0, performs faster because of its brand new quad-core processor. As you can see over here, this is the regular Omega HD. And what I'm going to do is, what I'm going to do is long press the home button just to make sure that there are no open applications. So this one has no recent apps. I'm going to just swipe through all of these applications so you can see both do not have any recent applications. Let's just do that one more time to make sure. There you go. No recent apps. No recent apps. Okay, so let's try and load Temple Run 2 for the first time and see if the Omega HD 2.0 can load the game faster. And here you go. So this is the initial load, and as you can see, just from the initial load alone, the Omega HD was able to load the game faster ahead of the Omega HD. Okay, now that by no means is probably the end-all test to really determine that one is faster, but another way that you can do that is to use a benchmarking application like Quadrant. Let's run a full benchmark on both phones right now. Okay. Again, just so that you know, the phone on the left is the Omega HD 2.0, on the right is the original Omega HD. And don't mind if one phone finishes the test ahead of the other. What we want to see at the end is the score that Quadrant gives you. We did start this test a little bit later, but as you can see, the Omega HD is really pulling ahead in terms of the speed at which this test is being conducted. Now, what it does, it runs through a lot of 3D videos, several processes to test 2D and 3D graphics, just to see how fast the phone will load all of these different graphics. And when it's done, it's going to flash, and I think this is almost done, the Omega HD 2.0, it'll flash a benchmark score. So here you go. It asks if you want to proceed. Okay, so my device is right here. So the Omega HD 2.0 scores 3,972. Let's see how the original Omega HD scores. We're almost done as well. Let's just click yes so that it can... For the sake of transparency, I'll turn them around just so that you can see. This is the Omega HD 2.0, and this is the Omega HD on the right. Let's take a look at their scores. The Omega HD, the original one, scores 2,531, where the new Omega HD 2.0 scores 3,972. So at least in this benchmark test by Quadrant, you see that the quad-core processor of the Omega HD 2.0 is far more superior than that of the original Omega HD. Okay, one last bonus feature that I'd like to show you today involves this and this. And if you've seen any of my videos before, a scissors and a blade can only mean one thing. We're gonna do a scratch test. And let me just show you the box again. The Omega HD and its predecessor both come with what they call Dragontrail glass. If you are familiar with glass on smartphones, you've probably heard of Corning Gorilla Glass, which is found in a lot of smartphones today. Dragontrail is a competitor, and they claim that the screen of the Cherry Mobile, sorry about that, Omega HD is scratch proof. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the display so that you can see the screen, and let me just wipe off a little bit of the smudge. As you can see, aside from the smudges, there are no scratches on this phone. So let's see what happens when we use this scissors on it. Okay, now let's just, I hope you can hear that, because I can hear that. I can hear the sharp scissors on the glass. Okay, let's take a look at the screen. Again, these are smudges. Let me just wipe the smudges away. And let's try to focus. There you go. Looks like the screen is flawless still. Even if I did hear something when I was scratching the scissors, it looks like the screen is pretty resilient. Okay, let's see what happens now. Let's use this blade. Okay, gotta be careful because I might scratch myself. I am not made of Dragontrail glass. Let me write my name. Let me sign my name with a... Okay, I'm re-recording this bit because we did lose audio in our recording. If you take a look, after wiping away the smudges, after the blade test, the Omega HD 2.0 screen is still pristine, no scratches, no marks on it. So Cherry Mobile's Dragontrail glass does as promised. Great job, Cherry Mobile. And that, folks, was our hands-on review and unboxing of the Cherry Mobile Omega HD 2.0. The phone is available now for 8,999 pesos. Its predecessor, the original Omega HD, is also still available. That phone costs 1,000 pesos less at 7,999.